Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, chapter number 28, titled Lord Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service. Text number 26. Vaksho divasam risabhasya maha vibhute Vaksho divasam risabhasya maha vibhute Pumsam mano nayana nirvritim adadhanam Pumsam mano nayana nirvritim adadhanam Kantam chakostubhamanir adibhusanartham Kantam chakostubhamanir adibhusanartham Kuryan manasi akhila loka namaskritasya Kuryan manasya kila loka namaskritasya Vaksho divasam risabhasya mahavibhute Pumsam mano nayana nirvritam adadhanam Kantam chakostubhamanir adibhusanartham Kuryan manasi akhila loka namaskritasya Vaksho divasam risabhasya mahavibhute Pumsam mano nayana nivritim adadhanam Kantam chakostubhamanir adibhusanartham Kuryan manasi akhila loka namaskritasya Vaksho divasam risabhasya mahavibhute Pumsam mano nayana nivritam adadhanam Kantam chakostubhamanir adibhusanartham Kuryan manasya akhila loka namaskritasya Chakostubhamanir adibhusanartham Kuryan manasya akila loka namaskritasya. Vaksho divasam risabhasya mahavibhute. Pumsa mano nayana nivritim addadanam. Kantam chakaustu bhamane radibhusanartam. Kuryan manasya akila loka namaskritasya. Matajis. Vaksho divasam risabhasya mahavibhute. Pumsa mano nayana nivritim addadanam. Kantam chakaustu bhamane radibhusanartam. Word for word translation. Vaksha, the chest. Adivasam, the abode. Risabhasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahavibhute, of Mahalakshmi. Pumsam, of persons. Manaha, to the mind. Nayana, to the eyes. Nivritim, transcendental pleasure. Adadhanam, bestowing. Kantam, the neck. Cha, also. Kaustubhamane, of the Kaustubha gem. Adibhusana artam, which enhances the beauty. Kuryat, he should meditate on. Manasi, in the mind. Akila loka, by the entire universe. Namaskritasya, who is adored. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the Personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustubha gem, which hangs on his chest. Purport. In the Upanishads, it is said that the various energies of the Lord are working to create, destroy, and maintain. These inconceivable varieties of energy are stored in the bosom of the Lord. As people generally say, God is all-powerful. That prowess is represented by Mahalakshmi, the reservoir of all energies, who is situated on the bosom of the transcendental form of the Lord. The yogi who can meditate perfectly on that spot, on the transcendental form of the Lord, can derive many material powers, which comprise the 8 perfections of the yoga system. It is stated herein that the beauty of the neck of the Lord enhances the beauty of the Kaustubha gem rather than vice versa. The gem itself becomes more beautiful because it is situated on the neck of the Lord. A yogi is therefore recommended to meditate upon the Lord's neck. The Lord's transcendental form can either be meditated upon in the mind or placed in a temple in the form of a statue and decorated in such a way that everyone can contemplate it. Temple worship, therefore, is meant for persons who are not so advanced that they can meditate upon the form of the Lord. There is no difference between constantly visiting the temple and directly seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. They are of equal value. The advantageous position of the yogi is that he can sit anywhere in a solitary place and meditate upon the form of the Lord. A less advanced person, however, has to go to the temple, and as long as he does not go to the temple, he is unable to see the form of the Lord. Either by hearing, seeing, or meditating, the objective is the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of voidness or impersonalism. The Lord can bestow the blessings of transcendental pleasure upon either the visitor of the temple, the meditator yogi, or one who hears about the Lord's transcendental form from scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. There are 9 processes for executing devotional service, of which smaranam or meditation is one. Yogis take advantage of the process of smaranam, whereas bhakti yogis take special advantage of the process of hearing and chanting. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksul Mritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class today. We're continuing our discussion from 3rd canto, chapter 28. And today we're reading text number 26. I'll read the translation again. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the Personality Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustuba gem, which hangs on his chest. So far in this chapter we've been hearing from Lord Kapiladev about how the yogi should meditate on the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality Godhead. And Lord Kapiladev first starts off by explaining that when one meditates or takes darshan of the form of the Supreme Lord, that one should start at the lotus feet. So not just for, according to Shastra, not just for Krishna, but for any kind of respectable superior personality, one should take darshan from his feet and then slowly raise his eyes up towards his face. So not just when we come to a temple and take darshan of Radha Gopinath, again we're supposed to take darshan of Radha Gopinath's lotus feet, then slowly raise our eyes up, then take darshan of Gopinath's legs, his navel, then his chest, then take darshan of Gopinath's neck, then finally we're supposed to take darshan of Gopinath's lotus face. So Prabhupada explains that according to Shastra, when one takes darshan, one shouldn't immediately go directly and take darshan of Krishna's face. One should start at the lotus feet and slowly make his way up. And if one does this, according to Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, if one follows this scientific procedure for taking darshan, then one's mind and intelligence will be purified. And just like this is the procedure given for taking darshan of Krishna, same way, according to Shastras, we're supposed to take darshan of any kind of superior personality. So even if some great sadhu has come, or a guru, or a spiritual master, for our spiritual masters, for pure devotees of the Lord, sannyasis, maharajas, we're also supposed to follow the same etiquette. So when we take darshan of our Guru Maharaj, again, when we're supposed to take darshan from the feet and slowly make our way up. or when we take darshan of any pure devotee of the Lord, any senior devotee of the Lord, we're supposed to follow that same etiquette. First, we take darshan of their lotus feet and then slowly make our way upwards. So this is how Lord Kapila Dev, he starts off his instructions of how we should meditate on the form of the Lord. He first glorifies Krishna's lotus feet by saying that Krishna's lotus feet is just like a thunderbolt. And Lord Kapila Dev explains that in our hearts, we've been stuck here in this material world for countless lifetimes, millions and billions of lifetimes we've been here. So in these millions and billions of lifetimes, we've accumulated so many sins. We've accumulated so many material desires and anarthas. And these anarthas and material desires, these sins that we've accumulated from billions of lifetimes, they have formed a huge mountain in our hearts. So how to get rid of this mountain of sins, how to get rid of this mountain of anarthas, how to get rid of this mountain of material desires. Mountains are huge, they're very strong, very powerful. On our own effort, we can't do anything mountain. We can't, get a hammer and hammer a mountain down. Even if we use explosives, bombs or machine guns, it's going to have no effect on a mountain. So the only possibility to destroy a mountain or to cut down a mountain is a thunderbolt. And Lord Kapila Dev explains that Krishna's lotus feet is just like a thunderbolt, which can destroy the mountain of sins, which can destroy the mountain of anarthas and material desires, which has accumulated within our hearts from so many lifetimes. So that is the effect, Lord Kapila Dev says, if we meditate on Gopinath's lotus feet. And Lord Kapila Dev specifically says that the yogi or the devotee, he should meditate on Krishna's lotus feet for a very long time. So we should make a special effort to meditate on Krishna's or Shri Radha Gopinath's lotus feet. And Kapila Dev, he specifically mentions that for a good amount of time or for a long period of time, the yogi should just focus on the lotus feet only. And then after having sufficiently taken darshan of Krishna's lotus feet, then he can start raising his eyes to Krishna's calves, to Krishna's legs, to Krishna's navel, and that way slowly bring his darshan upwards towards Krishna's lotus face. So now today, slowly Lord Kapila Dev is explaining what we should be meditating on when we take darshan of different parts of Krishna's transcendental body. After the lotus feet, then Lord Kapila Dev talks about Krishna's legs or his thighs. And when one is taking darshan of Krishna's thighs, one should think of how Mother Lakshmi, how she is always massaging Krishna's legs and serving him nicely in that way. And then it's also given that Krishna's thighs are said to be the storehouse of all energy. From Krishna's thighs, if the yogi meditates, or all the demigods, all great personalities of the universe, where do they get their power from? Where do they get their energy from? It's all coming from Krishna. And it's given specifically that Krishna's thighs are the storehouse of all energy. Like this, slowly, it's coming to text 26, today's verse, and today's verse is focusing on Krishna's chest and Krishna's neck. So it's given here, Lord Kapila Dev has explained that when we meditate on Krishna's chest, we should meditate that, this chest of Krishna, this is the place where Goddess Lakshmi is always eternally residing. And then when we meditate on Krishna's neck, we should think that how around Krishna's neck he has many different jewels and pearls and necklaces. Specifically, he has the famous Kaustuba gem. And the yogi should meditate that, my dear Krishna, he is so beautiful that all these pearls and jewels and necklaces, Kaustuba gem, which is all decorating his neck, instead of making Krishna more beautiful, Krishna's neck is making these beautiful jewels more beautiful. So generally, why do people put ornaments around their body? to make themselves more attractive. If they put a nice, necklace or, bangles, something on the face, some makeup, it's generally done. Or in all cases, we ornament ourselves with different ornaments or jewels to make ourselves more attractive. But in Krishna's case, Lord Kapila Dev is explaining that in Krishna's case it's the opposite. It's not that these jewels make Krishna look more attractive, but actually Krishna, he makes these jewels look more beautiful. So ordinarily these jewels, they have a certain attractive factor, but when these jewels, they come on Krishna's body, the attractive factor increases, hundreds of times. So why does Krishna wear these jewels then? If Krishna doesn't need these jewels to become more attractive, rather he makes these jewels more attractive, why is Krishna wearing them? So it's given in the spiritual world, everything is a personality. Just like Krishna's flute, Gopinath's flute, is a person, is a personality, is a devotee of Krishna. Same way these jewels Krishna wears, they're all devotees of Krishna. So Krishna is giving them an opportunity to serve him. So all these different jewels that Krishna is wearing, they're all devotees of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna, he gives them an opportunity to serve him. Now today is also the auspicious day of Ratha Yatra. So 2 weeks ago we celebrated Snan Yatra, which is said to be the birthday of Lord Jagannath, or the appearance day of Lord Jagannath. So just like in Janmashtami, which is Krishna's appearance day, we have a nice big Abhishek festival. Same way on Lord Jagannath's birthday appearance day, we also have Abhishek for Lord Jagannath, for Lord Baladev and Lord Subhadra, for Mother Subhadra. So after the Snan Yatra, as we know, Lord Jagannath, he plays the pastime of becoming sick, and for 2 weeks or 15 days, Lord Jagannath, he doesn't give darshan anymore. And visitors that come to temple, they won't be allowed to take darshan of Jagannath. Lord Jagannath, he'll have his own private inner quarters, where he'll be personally being served by Mahalakshmi, whom we are also hearing about in today's verse. And along with Mahalakshmi, Lord Jagannath will be getting served by his very close, dear servants known as the Daityas. And Daityas, they come, or the Sabras, they are actually outside of they're kind of like tribal people, but they've been serving Lord Jagannath for many, many generations. And Lord Jagannath, he considers them as his most dear devotees. And devotees, they give the example just like when we're sick, we stay at home, we don't go out into the public, and only our dear family members, we only let our very dear family members to come and, associate with us. We don't go outside and mingle with other people. So in the same way, during these 2 weeks when Lord Jagannath is sick, he only allows these tribal devotees of his to serve him personally. And the other Brahmanas or the Pandas, who generally do all the arti and the opulent worship for Lord Jagannath, they're not allowed to come and worship Lord Jagannath. So Lord Jagannath, he considers these tribal devotees to be his most dear and intimate devotees, and he considers them as just like his family. So with his wife Mahalakshmi and with these tribal devotees, Lord Jagannath is served for 2 weeks, and no one is allowed darshan of Lord Jagannath. And during this time, it's given in Chaitanya Charitamrita how after Lord Jagannath becomes sick and is not giving darshan anymore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he can't bear separation from Lord Jagannath anymore, and he leaves Jagannath Puri. And then he goes to Alalanath, where there is a famous deity of Krishna or Vishnu. This deity of Krishna, it has 4 arms. So it looks like a deity of Vishnu, but actually it's a deity of Krishna. And we probably all heard this famous pastime of how one time the gopis, they were searching for Krishna. Krishna had disappeared, and the gopis in madness, in separation, they were searching, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? And then Krishna, he comes in disguise as Vishnu, as four-handed Vishnu in front of the gopis. And the gopis see Vishnu, with four arms in front of them. And the gopis, they, offer respects to Vishnu, offer, pranams and glorify Vishnu. And then they ask Vishnu that, my dear Vishnu, you are the best of all givers of benediction, Can you please help us find Krishna? We're looking for Krishna. Can you please tell us where is Krishna? Now this Vishnu is actually Krishna himself, but he was just disguised as Vishnu. And then it's given that when Srimati Radharani comes, then Krishna, he can't maintain his disguise anymore, and he gives up his extra two arms. And he reveals his actual form as Krishna. So this deity of Vishnu, or this deity of Krishna having four arms in Alalanath, that's the deity that Mahaprabhu goes and takes shelter of during this 2-week period in which Lord Jagannath, he doesn't give darshan. And during these 2 weeks, Lord Jagannath is personally served by Mahalakshmi and by these very close, dear tribal devotees. And these devotees will make different medicines for Lord Jagannath, different medicinal herbs and drinks, so on and so forth, as medicine for Lord Jagannath to get well. And also, significantly, it is during this period, Prabhupada explains, that the deities will be repainted. Because during the big Abhishek ceremony, some of the paint will get loose and start getting washed off. So during this 2-week period, Lord Jagannath's devotees, they would repaint Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, and Mother Subhadra. So same with us here also. Ghanshyam Prabhu, he repaints Lord Jagannath every year during the 2-week period when Lord Jagannath is not giving darshan. So during this time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is feeling intense separation from Lord Jagannath, so he leaves and he goes to Alalanath and takes shelter of this special deity of Krishna, and we can still go and take darshan of this deity even today. Then finally, Ratha Yatra day starts coming, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he returns back to Jagannath Puri the day before Ratha Yatra to clean the temple of Gundicha. So that's when the famous pastime of Gundicha Marjan happens, which was yesterday. So the day before Ratha Yatra is the festival Gundicha Marjan. And what happens on this day? So during Ratha Yatra, Lord Jagannath, he's carried from his temple, Sri Mandir, to the Gundicha temple. And the Gundicha temple is said to be the birthplace of Lord Jagannath, or his hometown, or his actual house of his parents. So during Ratha Yatra, Lord Jagannath is carried from Sri Mandir to the Gundicha temple. And before, just like, if we invite some respectable person, some guest to a house, before they come, we will tidy up the house. We will clean everything and make all nice arrangements. So when the guest comes, they have a nice, clean house to be received in. So in the same way, before Lord Jagannath arrives at Gundicha temple, every year the devotees, they will go and clean do a maha cleaning of the Gundicha temple to make everything very nice and clean to receive Lord Jagannath, who is the Lord of the universe. So that's why one day before Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returns, and with all of his devotees, he does a massive maha cleaning of the temple of Gundicha. And it's said that Sri Mandir is said to be like Dwarka, and this Gundicha temple is said to be Vrindavan, or Krishna's home. So Prabhupada explains, Ratha Yatra, it signifies the Vrajavasis or the gopis carrying Krishna from Dwarka to Vrindavan. And Prabhupada, he cites the pastime in Krishna book when the solar eclipse happens and when all the Vrajavasis, they go to Kurukshetra. At that time, the gopis, the Vrajavasis, they all finally get to see Krishna after so many years. And now Krishna is dressed as a big king, of Dwarka. And the gopis, they tell Krishna, what are you doing here in Dwarka? Come back to Vrindavan. So this pastime of the Vrajvasis trying to get Krishna from Dwarka back to Vrindavan, it's signified by this pastime of Ratha Yatra. Now, a question might be, why are the gopis or why are the Vrajvasis telling Krishna to come back to Vrindavan? Why don't they just move to Dwarka? Why don't they just stay in Dwarka with Krishna? Why do they want Krishna to come back? And it might also, to material vision, seem, a little selfish that the gopis or the Vrajvasis, they just want to enjoy Krishna for themselves. Krishna is there in Dwarka, he's having a good time, he's a prince, he's a king, he has nice kingdom, he has so many queens, everything is there in Dwarka. Why do these Vrajvasis always telling Krishna, come back to Vrindavan, play with us, enjoy with us in Vrindavan? It seems like a bit selfish. They just want to enjoy Krishna for themselves. Krishna is there. He's king of Dwarka. He's a big prince, big king. So many queens he has. So many family members are there in Dwarka. Why are they always asking him to come back to Vrindavan? And if they're missing Krishna so much, why don't they just move to Dwarka? It's a big opulent city. So many palaces. So much nice facilities. Krishna can make arrangement, they can all just live in Dwarka with Krishna happily ever after. Why do they keep calling Krishna back to Vrindavan? So it's explained by the Acharyas that the Vrajvasis, they understand that Krishna, according to the Vrajvasis consciousness, they understand that Krishna, he cannot be fully happy outside of Vrindavan. The only place where Krishna can be totally or fully happy and satisfied is in Vrindavan, where there is Govardhan, where there is Yamuna, where there is Krishna's beloved cows, so on and so forth. So because the Vrajvasis, they understand this fact that Krishna, he experiences the maximum pleasure or the maximum satisfaction in Vrindavan. That's why the Vrajvasis are always trying to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. So it's not for their own pleasure, it's not due to any selfish reason, it's totally 100% done in pure selfless devotion. They're just always thinking of Krishna's pleasure. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami explains that the principle of Vrindavan is Krishna Sukha Hetu, which means everything for Krishna's pleasure. So when the gopis, the Vrajvasis, they're trying to get Krishna back to Vrindavan, they're not thinking, okay, let us get Krishna back so then we can have happiness, we can enjoy with Krishna. No, rather they're thinking that that place, that location where Krishna can experience the maximum bliss, maximum happiness is in Vrindavan. There is Govardhan in Vrindavan, Krishna's most dear servant. There is Mother Yamuna in Vrindavan. There is Tulsi Devi. There is Vrinda Devi. There is Krishna's beloved cows. And all these different devotees of Krishna can give Krishna the maximum pleasure, which the devotees in Dwarka can't come anywhere in close in comparison. Therefore, to give Krishna the maximum pleasure, the Vrajvasis are always trying to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. So this pastime of Ratha Yatra, it signifies this. So one day before Ratha Yatra, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates do. They go immediately to the Gundicha temple and they do a massive cleaning. So that festival was yesterday. Then the next day, early in the morning, there is one festival celebrated called Netrotsava. Netrotsava, Utsava means festival. Netrotsava means the festival of the eyes. Netra means eyes. So this is the festival which signifies, devotees finally getting darshan of Lord Jagannath after 15 days of no darshan. So I'll just read a few verses regarding this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 12. Text number, so Madhya, chapter 12, text number 209. With great eagerness, all the other devotees followed them into the temple of Lord Jagannath. Out of great eagerness to see the Lord, they all neglected the regulatory principles, and just to see the Lord's face, went to the place where the food was offered. So it's given that this is happening early in the morning, just pretty much around this time. So just like at 7:15, finally after 15 days, we got darshan of Lord Jagannath. In the same way, these devotees, for 15 days, they were feeling pangs of separation from Lord Jagannath. And eagerly following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of his associates, they eagerly came to the temple of Lord Jagannath to finally take darshan. And it's given here, they were so thirsty, they were so hungry to take darshan of Lord Jagannath that in their ecstasy, they lost their minds and they stepped into the altar to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. Just like here we have the two red ropes blocking devotees or visitors from going into the altar where only pujaris are allowed to go. So same way, same principle was there in the temple of Lord Jagannath. And that altar area, we see there at the front, that is the place where bhoga is offered to Radha Gopinath. Bhoga is offered to Lord Jagannath and Gaur Nitai. So that's why you see sometimes, or after the Guru Puja Kirtan, you'll see the pujaris, they'll put a curtain, a half curtain, blocking half of the view, because that's the time when the pujaris are offering bhoga to Radha Gopinath. So that altar area, that's the place where bhoga is offered to Krishna. And one is not supposed to go there, like only pujaris are allowed to go there. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees, they were so hungry to see Krishna or Lord Jagannath that out of ecstasy they forgot all the rules and regulations and they went past the ropes and stepped into the altar. And standing in the altar, they were taking darshan of Lord Jagannath. How they were taking of Lord Jagannath, we will read now. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very thirsty to see the Lord, and his eyes became like two bumblebees, drinking the honey from the lotus-like eyes of Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna himself. The eyes of Lord Jagannath conquered the beauty of blossoming lotus flowers, and his neck was as lustrous as a mirror made of sapphires. The chin of the Lord, tinged with buff color, conquered the beauty of the banduli flower, and this increased the beauty of his mild smiling, which was like lustrous waves of nectar. So here it's given that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his eyes were like thirsty bumblebees, and Lord Jagannath's eyes were like beautiful lotuses. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with his eyes, he was drinking in the honey from Lord Jagannath's lotus-like eyes. Very thirstily, he was drinking in as much as he could. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, one place, I remember, he was giving an example in one class, that he was saying, our eyes are like teacups, and with the teacups of our eyes, we should drinking the beauty. Just like Ishwar Prabhu, he's drinking in hot water with his mouth. Same way, with the cups of our eyes, we're supposed to drinking the beauty of Krishna's lotus face. So Lord Jagannath's eyes were like lotuses, and Mahaprabhu's eyes were like thirsty bumblebees. And Mahaprabhu with his eyes was drinking in continuously the nectar of Lord Jagannath's eyes. And a description is given here of Lord Jagannath's neck. It's given that Lord Jagannath's neck was so lustrous that is compared to a mirror made of sapphires. And it's given about the beauty of Lord Jagannath's smile. Lord Jagannath was smiling so wonderfully that it was as if waves of nectar were coming onto the devotees. So if we go to the ocean or to any beach, if we observe the waves, we'll see that the waves are unlimited. The waves, they never stop coming. They just continuously keep coming, one after another. So Lord Jagannath's smile is said to be like lustrous waves of nectar, which means we can keep on staring at Lord Jagannath's smile, and more nectar will keep on flowing and hitting us, hitting our consciousness. We'll never get tired of taking darshan of Lord Jagannath's smile. Just like the waves are endless, the waves will never stop coming. In the same way, the waves of nectar coming from Lord Jagannath's smile will also keep on coming. One will never get tired of taking darshan of Lord Jagannath's smile. The luster of his beautiful face increased at every moment, and the eyes of hundreds and thousands of devotees drank its honey like bumblebees. So this is the way we're supposed to take darshan of Lord Jagannath on this day. Like thirsty, hungry bumblebees, we should come and just stare at Lord Jagannath and with our eyes just drink in Lord Jagannath's beauty. As their eyes began to drink the nectarian honey of his lotus face, their thirst increased. Thus their eyes did not leave him. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees enjoyed transcendental bliss upon seeing the face of Lord Jagannath. This continued to midday. So it's explained that this Netrotsava festival, or this festival of the eyes, happens early in the morning. So early in the morning, Lord Jagannath finally gives darshan after 15 days, and the devotees, thirstily, hungrily, they're just drinking in the beauty of Lord Jagannath, standing on the altar, violating all regulated principles. In our temple, if someone did that, immediately they would be chastised. Devotees say, hey, what are you doing? You can't stand there. Only pujaris allowed there, and that person will be chastised and sent out. So this happens early in the morning, this Netrotsava festival. And it's mentioned here that the devotees, they're like so absorbed in taking darshan Lord Jagannath that they continuously take darshan Lord Jagannath all the way till noon. So early in the morning it happens, Netrotsava. Like for our case, it happened 7:15. So right from 7:15 a.m. in the morning till 12 noon, devotees were just taking darshan. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. For 5 hours. Around 5 hours, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they were just standing and taking darshan of Lord Jagannath, doing nothing else. That's how absorbed they were in taking darshan of Lord Jagannath. Then finally at 12 o'clock, what happens? Lord Jagannath's lunch comes in, and then they had to leave the altar, because that's the place where the bhoga is supposed to be offered. So then they come out. So it's given, they were so absorbed in taking darshan, they continuously take darshan till midday or noon. And at that time, the bhoga offering comes, and then they have to leave. Their looking at the face of Lord Jagannath was interrupted only when he was offered food. Afterwards, they would again look upon his face. When the food was being offered to the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his kirtan. Then finally, when the bhoga offering came, they left, and then they performed kirtan. So this is the Netrotsava festival, which happens early in the morning of Ratha Yatra day. Then the next festival which happens is called Pandu Vijaya. So Pandu Vijaya happens Pandu Vijaya is the festival of Lord Jagannath being carried from the altar onto the Rath carts. And Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadramani, they're very big, huge, heavy deities. So it requires many, many devotees and many, many servants to carry each one of them. And they have to tie they tie Lord Jagannath's waist with silken ropes. And one devotee would carry one shoulder of Lord Jagannath, another devotee will carry another shoulder of Jagannath, and then few devotees will hold Lord Jagannath from his lotus feet. Like this, 4, 5, 6, 7 devotees, each will have to carry each deity. And it's given, they're so heavy that you can't carry them in one go from the altar to the Rath carts. Just like if we're carrying something very heavy, like a very heavy book box, like a Bhagavatam set, for some distance you can carry, but then after some time you get tired and you have to put the box down. Then you take a deep breath in, stretch your back, then again you lift it, and again you walk some more distance. Then again the hands become tired, then again you drop the box down, take a break, then again you carry, and then again you go. So same procedure the devotees of Lord Jagannath use to carry Lord Jagannath from the altar to the Rath carts. So in the process, what they do during this Pandu Vijaya festival, the path from the altar onto the Rath carts, they put different checkpoints where they can rest the deity of Lord Jagannath. And so they lay the path with, it's given cotton pillows, like huge, massive cotton pillows, they put in different checkpoints on the way to the cart. So the plan is that they will carry Lord Jagannath, and then he'll be very heavy. So then when they need to take a break, they will put in the cotton pad number 1. They would put Lord Jagannath down. Then they would take a break, then again lift Lord Jagannath, and then go to the second cotton pad. Then again rest Lord Jagannath there, then again lift him up, and like that slowly, they have to carry Lord Jagannath and Baladev and Mother Subhadra to the Ratha carts. And as they're carrying him, as they're placing Lord Jagannath in these different checkpoints or in these different cotton pillars, naturally so much weight is coming on these cotton pillars, these cotton pillars would then burst and cotton would start flying up in the air. And there's one nice pastime that Bhakti Purushottam Raj, he writes in his book, Jagannath book, that one time there was a tailor who was working for a Muslim king. I think this is somewhere in Delhi, very far away from Jagannath Puri. I read this pastime long ago. I'll say the story just in brief. So there's this one tailor. He was a devotee of Lord Jagannath, but he was living very far away in Delhi, and he was being maintained by a Muslim king, and he was like the Muslim king's tailor. So one day this Muslim king, he asked this tailor who's a devotee of Lord Jagannath to, make some nice cushions for him. And he said, okay, you can use these jewels, these diamonds, these different things, and I want very opulent cushions. I want 2 cushions. And the tailor said, okay, I will make for you. He got all the details, the size, the arrangements, what jewels to put, what ornaments to put, what diamonds to put. And then he starts making these beautiful cushions. And he's a devotee of Lord Jagannath. And Prabhupada says that a materialist, he'll always think everything about how to enjoy his own senses. And Prabhupada gives the example that someone goes out on the street, he sees a flower, then natural instinct is he wants to smell the flower himself. He wants to enjoy the flower himself. But Prabhupada says a devotee, his mood, his consciousness is such, whenever he sees anything out there, his first thinking is always Krishna. Oh, such a nice flower. Let me go and offer it to Radha Gopinath in the temple. Krishna will enjoy this flower nicely. This flower, this frangipani, it looks very beautiful. It has such nice fragrance. Let me go and offer these frangipanis at Gopinath's lotus feet. So Krishna will enjoy. So this is devotee's mood, Prabhupada says. Devotee is always thinking how different things can be used in Krishna's service. So this tailor, he's doing his job, stitching these beautiful opulent cushions, putting different jewels and everything. And as he's making these cushions, in his mind he's thinking, these cushions are so nice and beautiful, so opulent. It would be nice if Lord Jagannath could use this cushion actually. He is the Lord of the universe. These opulent cushions are fit to be used in his service. Ratha Yatra is coming soon, and they have these cushions in which they place Lord Jagannath as they're carrying him to his cart. So maybe it'll be nice, if these cushions could be used there. But what to do, this is my karma, I have to serve this king and, it won't be possible. And like that in his mind, he's meditating on how nice it would be if these cushions were used in Lord Jagannath's service. And in his mind, mentally, he's thinking, he's offering the pillow to Jagannath and Lord Jagannath is being placed on the cushion. Like that mentally, he's offering one cushion to Lord Jagannath. And when he opens his eyes, he notices that one of the cushions has disappeared. And then he freaks out because, this whole making these opulent cushions with jewels and everything is being sponsored by the king. And now one of the cushions that he has made has just disappeared. Now what to do, the king finds out, that all these jewels and everything, costly ornaments he had given him to make these cushions, is just gone. The king will immediately call him a thief. That you just stole that cushion, you're just hiding it yourself. You have sold it somewhere else to make money for yourself. So he didn't know what to do. Suddenly that cushion disappeared. So he understood that, Lord Jagannath, he accepted my service and he has stolen that cushion or accepted that cushion. So he kind of started freaking out, was worrying about what to do. And then he thought, okay, I'll just go and openly just tell the king. And he goes and he doesn't say anything about missing cushion. He just goes and, here's your cushion. He just gives to the king. And the king said, I said 2 cushions. How come there is only one? What happened to the second one? And then he just, he can't lie, he just tells the truth. Yeah, the second cushion, Lord Jagannath, he took, like that. And then I read this pastime long time ago. I forgot the details, but some or other, I think Lord Jagannath, he comes in the king's dream or something like that, and then the situation is pacified. Initially, the king is very angry, and he's putting this servant in jail or something, but this devotee, he prays to Lord Jagannath, and Lord Jagannath later on, I think he comes in this king's dream, and then the situation is pacified. So in this way, Lord Jagannath, he is known as a Bhakta Vatsala, or one who accepts the mood or the Bhava Grahi Janardhan. He is known as one who accepts the bhava or the mood or the love and devotion in which devotees offer things to him. And is also known as Bhakta Vatsala, one whose devotees are very, very dear to him. So that book of Bhakti Purushottam Raj is a very nice, beautiful book to read. It has a lot of nice pastimes of how Krishna or Lord Jagannath reciprocates with his devotees. One nice pastime, there's one devotee, one Mataji, she used to offer khichdi to Lord Jagannath every day from her house, and Lord Jagannath, he used to really enjoy it, because this Mataji, she used to see Lord Jagannath as a son, and with that bhav, with that mood, she used to serve Lord Jagannath. But one day, one sadhu was coming, and this sadhu stayed at this Mataji's house, and this sadhu saw in the morning that this Mataji was cooking khichdi, but she hadn't taken shower, she hadn't done achaman, she wasn't following all the principles, rules and regulations of Suchi Muchi. And this sadhu chastised this Mataji and told her, you should do this, you should do that, you should take shower, you should do achaman, you should put tilak, you should do this. He gave like a whole folder full of rules and regulations to follow. And then next day this Mataji said, okay, I'll follow everything nicely. And next day Lord Jagannath comes to this Mataji's house to take his khichdi, but he sees that his mother hasn't even started cooking. She's still in the bathroom taking shower. Then Lord Jagannath goes back and then again comes. And then Lord Jagannath sees that still she hasn't started cooking. Now she's doing some achaman or some purification process. Then Lord Jagannath, he gets upset. He's feeling hungry. His stomach is growling. And then Lord Jagannath, again he goes back. Then again finally he comes. And then finally Lord Jagannath takes prasad, And then Lord Jagannath notices all this is happening because of this sadhu, This sadhu is doing all this. So like this happens another day also. And Lord Jagannath is waiting, prasad is not ready. And finally he starts eating. And as he's eating khichdi one day, he hears the Mangala-arati Pujari ringing the bell at 4:30 in the morning for Mangala-arati. And Lord Jagannath, he freaks out, oh my God, it's time for Mangala-arati, I have to run back quickly. So Lord Jagannath, immediately he leaves this Mataji's house and runs back to the temple and stands on the altar ready for darshan. Yeah. So then the Pujari, he opens the curtains. Pujari lights the incense to offer the incense to Lord Jagannath. And as the Pujari is offering incense to Lord Jagannath, he notices there is khichdi all over the mouth of Lord Jagannath. And then the Pujari freaks out. What is this? How come there is khichdi on? Imagine you're the Mangala-arati Pujari, you come and you're offering incense and you see, there's khichdi on Jagannath's face. So the Pujari, he freaks out. Then later on, Lord Jagannath, he comes in the dream of the head Pujari and tells him that this is what's happening. I really love my mother's khichdi and I just like the way that she offers this khichdi to me. I don't want her to follow all these, different rules and regulations. Tell this sadhu to go away and stop advising my mother how she should cook for me. She knows what's best for me. So then this sadhu, this Mataji, she continued cooking for Lord Jagannath, as she would usually do. And it's given that as Lord Jagannath used to wait for this khichdi cooked by his mother, he used to tell his mother, Jali koroma, cook quickly, mother, cook quickly. I am feeling hungry. So this Mataji's name become, Kararamai. That's how she got that name. And Lord Jagannath used to consider this Mataji as his own mother. And it's given that day when this Mataji passed away, left this mortal world and went back to Lord Jagannath's eternal abode. That day, Lord Jagannath, it's mentioned he was crying so much. in separation from his mother. And Lord Jagannath, he started fasting. He didn't accept any offerings. And then the news came to the king that, worshipful Lord Jagannath, he's fasting, he's not accepting any offerings, he's crying. And the king said, what happened? And then the devotees explained, Lord Jagannath, he used to consider this Mataji as his own mother, and this Mataji has gone. And Lord Jagannath is feeling so much separation from his mother. And then the king went and the king pacified Lord Jagannath. The king told Lord Jagannath that don't worry, from this day onwards, in the name of your mother, Kararama, every day early in the morning we will offer khichdi to you. And even till this day, the pujaris, they offer khichdi in the name of this Mataji every day early in the morning of Lord Jagannath. And then Lord Jagannath was pacified. So this is how much Lord Jagannath loves his devotees. We never hear of any instance in the Shastras, of Krishna being upset, Krishna crying, Krishna fasting, Krishna going to depression. But here we see that Lord Jagannath, he is so much, bound by the love of this Mataji, who is serving Lord Jagannath, that, he goes, or he performs this pastime of being in depression, of crying, or fasting. So, ye yatamam prapajante tamstateva bhajamiham. As we all surrender unto Krishna, as we all surrender unto Lord Jagannath, to that degree Lord Jagannath will reciprocate with us. Okay, we'll stop here. It's 9 o'clock. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and Thai Gaur Premanande.